Awesome. So my name is Brooklyn Gomez. I work for the Eagles Autism Foundation, and I am the Scientific Programs and Inclusion Initiatives Coordinator here with the foundation. And in my role, I primarily oversee our scientific review process and our grant programming. And then I also assist in our inclusion activities like our All Abilities clinics, our game day staff program, our neurodiverse employment initiative, as well as a host of sensory-friendly offerings that the foundation puts on. Eagles Autism Foundation, the mission is to um, raise funds for innovative research and care programs. And essentially, our CEO and chairman, Jeffrey Lurie, had a vision, outside of winning Super Bowls, what did he want his impact to be? And that's what led us to landing on the Eagles Autism Foundation. He has a personal connection to autism, and that's essentially where the Eagles Autism Foundation came into inception. It started as the Eagles Autism Challenge, which is our signature fundraising event, which brings in millions of dollars. To date, our last EAC raised over $10 million, which we then give out and share our funding with the community through our research grants and care grants as well. So it's a really awesome initiative and it has led to incredible success within the community, and we look forward to seeing that continue to grow. Our Eagles Autism Challenge essentially started in 2017. It is our signature fundraising event. It is a bike ride, walk, or run that's hosted around the stadium, and it kicks off every May. It starts with a kickoff party that's held at the stadium, and then it transitions into the walk, run, or bike ride that takes place around Lincoln Financial Field and around Philadelphia. Essentially, participants establish teams, and through their teams, they fundraise, ultimately raising funds that then go back into our programs, our community grants, and our research grants. And again, we raised 10 million this year, so we're looking forward to giving that out. And we're breaking records every year, so it's tough to keep up. So, how do you beat 10 million? We'll have to look at that. Yes, and so from the EAC, that's when we transitioned to dedicating the Eagles Autism Foundation. So what started as our signature fundraising event then led into the completion and the establishment of the Eagles Autism Foundation as a whole. Absolutely. So while I started off in healthcare, my educational journey essentially led me to this role, I would say. I went to the University of Southern California, where I majored in human biology and minored in public health. And then I went on to receive my master's in health administration. And so during my time there, I worked at Valley Presbyterian Hospital in quality assurance and in performance improvement. And from there, I also worked with a residential care facility, establishing their programs that served individuals with ASD, IDD, mental illness, and behavioral issues. And so that ultimately led to deepen my passion for the ASD community. And I saw the Eagles Autism Foundation role open up, and I was like, wow, you know what? I think I can do this. And so I've taken my education and then my professional experience, those two coupled together really created a great matrimony in this role. And so I get to take my tasks that I've learned and the experience that I've learned from both of those roles and apply them to the foundation. And that has been just great and awesome to be a part of and watch myself as a professional develop in this role, but also couple both of my passions together here as well. During my time as a seasonal associate, I definitely think the organization does a great job at offering that role. And so essentially, the seasonal role is a 10-month internship with the organization, and it is offered to every department within the organization. And so I was selected to serve as the Eagles Autism Scientific Seasonal Associate in 2023. And so during my time there, I was able to contribute to EAF at a high level. And I think just being available to every department in the organization aided in my success in the transition into a full-time role, and also being able to contribute at a high level, taking my experience from my previous roles, like at Valley Presbyterian, and then working alongside the community as well within the residential care facility. I think that made me a great candidate for the full-time role. Always being available and willing to work and just being a positive voice in the community, an advocate, and willing to listen, I think contributed to the transition into my full-time role, which has been awesome. And just to see the development of the seasonal associate program, there have been many seasonals that were hired full-time, and I think it's a great stepping stone for anyone interested in, interning with an organization, and learning more about the roles and responsibilities throughout their time here. Essentially, your seasonal role is a full-time role. It's only guaranteed for 10 months, but there is that slight possibility that you'll be hired full time. So that was amazing to be a part of that small possibility of individuals that were then offered a full-time role. So our key responsibilities vary depending on who you are on the team. So within my role as a scientific programs and inclusion initiatives coordinator, our team is dedicated to our scientific review process and developing inclusion-based programming. And so that looks different in many ways. During our scientific review, our process is a bit different, so our schedule varies. We are locked in and we're getting ready to fund innovative research and care programs. So we're reviewing applications, we're going on site visits, we're meeting with experts to ensure that we are fundraising, or excuse me, we are funding the best projects. And so that's very different from our season schedule, where when we're in season, we're looking forward to supporting individuals on the spectrum. We're providing them with resources to be successful at their job. We have a neurodiverse employment program where we support game day staff that work at Lincoln Financial Field. So we are providing them with visual schedules and making sure that we're their communication touch points between different members of our team at Lincoln Financial Field that also aid in their success in their work. And so it really depends on the time of year and what our calendar looks like. Off season, we were just at Barefoot Country Music Fest activating. So we were on the sand in Wildwood fundraising and selling merchandise. So year round, we're looking to raise funds. And so we're always looking for the best ways to fundraise, support our participants, and raise the most money for autism research and care programs. So our day-to-day task really does vary on the time of year, the schedule, and off season we're also hosting our all abilities clinic, so creating recreational activities. And so when we're planning for that, we're meeting with our stadium operations team. We are thinking of new ideas to bring forth inclusion initiatives for the community. This past year, we hosted 5 all abilities clinics in the spring and fall. So really event planning, execution. We work with our Eagles Autism. The Eagles Autism Foundation works with the Eagles cheerleaders to bring an inclusive cheer clinic. We work with the drumline to bring an inclusive drumline clinic. We host inclusive football clinics, and then we also work with an outside company to bring a STEM clinic at the field, hosted by the foundation. So we're always busy and our tasks are ever changing. And then other members on our team, they're also, pivotal to the success of the foundation. So we have other individuals that work on logistics support, operations, and then of course, sponsor engagement, and then donor engagement to ensure that we can bring in the most funds to support, again, our care programs and our research programs as well. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So the foundation works closely with the lead scientific advisor, and we ensure that we're following the best practices when we're looking at funding research projects. And so through his advisement, we then recruit research experts to serve as panelists during our review process. Then they review and score the applications submitted, and we follow closely the NIH, so the National Institute of Health review criteria, which include reviewer assessments that score and review the proposals according to their significance, impact, impact, investigator, innovation, and approach and environment. And so after days of discussion and extensive review, they essentially aid in the voices of, how we ensure that the quality of research that we are funding is going to make a great impact, is significant, is going to make a true difference globally. And so we really depend heavily on those medical professionals, the researchers, and the panelists to help us determine the quality of research and the innovative level of research that we then fund. So we definitely look forward to elevating the voices of our neurodiverse community through the involvement, much like our research grant process, how we depend on, the researchers and the experts. We look to the community when we go to fund our community grant applications. And so, like I've mentioned previously, we have a neurodiverse game day staff program where we hire individuals and support them and so through our program, we recruit our game day staff to then be a part of our community grant scoring process. And so we utilize their voices and their insights. We present them with the different applications that come through our community grant portal. And we get their insights and input on what they think is successful or what they wish they would have had when they were younger. And, we really don't take lightly their input. And so they help in letting us know what they think we should fund, and we follow suit that way as well. And so when we listen to our families, we also make sure that we are making a conscious effort to take their feedback into account. After every All Abilities clinic, we put out surveys. So we ask how their experience was at our event, what we could do better and how we can better support them. And we incorporate that into our following event, once we review their insight and input. And with our participants, we have an individual on our team who's our peer-to-peer fundraiser. And so she has very close relationships with our EAC families and participants. They can call her and they can share, I think this went well, I think this didn't go well, how can we do this? So we definitely have a listening ear in the community, whether that's through, our neurodiverse game day staff or our direct relationships with individuals that we support and serve. And we do not take that lightly. We understand, being a part of the Philadelphia Eagles and the organization, we have a larger following and a great approach to and access to the community. And so we enjoy being that bridge between the community and, the resources that we have. So it's been amazing to be a part of, and I definitely think it's only going to get bigger as we continue to go along. Our largest funding year, we just won a Super Bowl and we raised over 10 million this year. So you can't get much better than that, but we'll look forward to it. Absolutely. So I think, balancing the two portions of my role, the scientific aspect and the inclusion aspect, I think really go hand in hand. Scientific aspect, primarily I am doing grant tracking, keeping up with the different reports. And so that's not necessarily people facing, whereas the inclusion part is. And so there's there's such difference in the two roles that, it's nice to have that outlet and the opportunity to, step away from a computer and go and engage with the community in that program-based approach through the inclusion initiatives and the accessibility offerings that we offer. And so whereas I don't necessarily see it as a challenge, it's definitely an opportunity to grow and an opportunity to engage differently within the foundation. So they're pretty different, but they're on the same token. So it's a really good opportunity and nice balance to have. I would say this past season, has definitely been the most memorable. The Eagles coming off of a Super Bowl win at that, getting to the Super Bowl is a huge accomplishment, but and then to also win the Super Bowl is amazing in itself. But as we were planning for the Super Bowl, we had the opportunity to mobilize our Eagles Autism Foundation team and our All Abilities clinics. So we were part of the NFL experience and we hosted for the first time ever at the NFL experience sensory hours. And so there was a dedicated time period for individuals with sensory sensitivities to come to the NFL experience with, a more sensory friendly approach. So lower music levels, we created a visual schedule. And then we also provided our All Abilities clinics with our Eagles Autism Foundation team, where we brought in local volunteers from local universities within the New Orleans area and also invited organizations from the New Orleans area to come participate in our All Abilities clinics. And so we've had multiple families come up to us during that time and, often in tears and just sharing their experience with the foundation, that they were so thankful for the opportunity to participate and have the opportunity for their children and their adult children to come out and experience something like this, on this grand scale, like the NFL experience and the Super Bowl. So that was amazing to be a part of, and definitely one of my most memorable moments to see, wow, the impact that the foundation has, the organization has. So many individuals may take a simple experience lightly. We don't take any experience lightly because we understand that, not all opportunities or activities are inclusive to everyone. And so to bring a level of inclusion to an event like this has been just so awesome and so memorable. And, that's what our foundation aims to do, is to um, just show that individuals with differences can participate alongside their neurotypical peers, and they can still enjoy events and, be the center of attention and have a great time. And so I think that has been the most memorable and most awesome thing to experience in my role here so far. I would definitely say get involved. Come join us at the Eagles Autism Challenge. They can sign up as an individual participant or they can sign up with a team. It is really fun fundraising. At the Eagles Autism Challenge, everyone in the Eagles organization participates. And so you could be riding your bike or walking right next to AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, your favorite players. So I always say that's a great way to get involved. And then also your dollar is making a direct impact in the community and globally as well. All of our participant raised funds from the Eagles Autism Challenge go into supporting our community grants and our research grants. So your dollar does make a difference and it does impact and change lives around the world. And so I would definitely say participating in EAC is the best way to get involved, or come joining us at any one of our fundraisers, our events. We always post them on our social media. So make sure you're following Eagles Autism Foundation to get involved as well. There are many great ways that are family friendly, and then we also have events that are centered towards the adults, like Jason Kelsey's Team 62 fundraiser down at the OD. So we have something for everyone. If you give it a chance and get involved, we're always here and willing to, support individuals as well.